Guys, good morning. My name is Onad. If you are new here, welcome. And if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Today is Sunday, and I decided to get out and do a bit of walking exercise. I haven't really exercised in probably more than a month now, and I can definitely feel it. I've also been eating a lot of unhealthy food lately, and my daily routine has been a mess. For the past few weeks, I've also been struggling with insomnia. Most nights, I don't fall asleep until around 3 in the morning, so I'm always sleepy when I'm at the office. So today, I'm trying to reset and get myself back on track. I'm just going for a walk around the places where I usually run. Nothing too serious. I'll aim for around 10,000 steps, which will probably take us about 2 hours or maybe a little more. I've always wondered about this structure here along C5. I pass by it every day on my way home from work, and at first, I thought it was some kind of canopy or an unfinished elevated highway. Then I looked it up, and it turns out it's indeed part of the planned elevated expressway, which will connect the Skyway near Arca South and continue through the eastern side of Metro Manila toward Pasig, Marikina, and Quezon City. The project has been sitting idle for years because of issues such as right-of-way problems and probably corruption. Many people call it the highway to nowhere. This is where I usually come for a long walk or to run. It's a popular spot for exercise, especially for people living in the nearby neighborhoods. Many people come here to run or just walk, especially early in the morning or from late afternoon to evening. On both sides of the road is actually a cemetery, and judging by the size of the mausoleums, it looks like a cemetery for well-off people. Some vendors also come here to sell water, drinks, snacks, and even vegetables, like this one. Exercising in the Philippines can sometimes be a challenge because most roads weren't really designed with pedestrians in mind. Sidewalks are often narrow or blocked, and unless you live near a large park or in a CBD like BGC or Makati, finding a comfortable place to walk can be difficult. It's one of the things I miss about living in Japan. Over there, going for a walk or a run doesn't require much thought. You just step outside and you already know which way you're going. You don't have to worry about traffic, crowds, or cars, tricycles, and motorcycles parked along the streets and sidewalks. It just makes staying active feel effortless. Speaking of Japan, I've been reading the comments on my previous video about why I left. First of all, thank you to everyone who shared your thoughts. I know not everyone agreed with me, and that's perfectly okay. Some of you understood exactly what I was talking about because you've been through something similar. Others were surprised that I decided to leave. And of course, there were comments saying things like, "You wasted a great opportunity. you're complaining too much, or you just needed to learn the language, understand the culture, and adapt. I understand why people say that because I used to think that way too. I thought that people I know who were abandoning their Japan life simply weren't trying hard enough or just making excuses. One thing many people don't get is that learning the language and understanding the culture doesn't automatically make life easy. There are a lot of foreigners who speak fluent Japanese, understand the culture, follow the rules, and still struggle with living and working there. At the same time, there are people who arrive knowing very little Japanese, but eventually build a happy and successful life. One of the reasons I started this YouTube channel was because I thought it would help me deal with those feelings of isolation and loneliness. I wanted a hobby. I wanted something that would make me look forward to the weekends. And at first, it did help a bit, but in the end, it wasn't enough to solve the bigger problem. If you've been following this channel from the start, you probably noticed that I suddenly stopped uploading while I was still in Japan. Looking back, that was around the time I had already accepted that I wanted to go home. Another thing I miss about Japan is how walkable it is. Walking 5 kilometers or even 10 kilometers doesn't really feel like a big deal. Well, at least for me. The sidewalks are continuous, crossings are convenient, and you rarely have to worry about heavy traffic or obstacles getting in your way. Also, staying healthy is so much easier. Even if you buy most of your meals from convenience stores, you can still eat relatively healthy. Since walking is enjoyable, you're not forcing yourself to exercise, so it's much easier to stay consistent. Unlike here, where sometimes just thinking about the traffic and the crowds is enough to discourage you from going outside and doing any physical activity. Now, the next question is probably, do I regret leaving Japan? My short answer is no. It's a little difficult to explain, but the simplest way I can put it is there's no place like home. Of course, there are a lot of trade offs. I gave up many things by leaving Japan, but for me, it was still worth it. Ever since I came back to the Philippines, I really felt that something had changed. The biggest difference was the feeling of freedom. Back in Japan, a 2 day or even a 3 day rest never felt like enough. Here, 2 days is usually more than enough for me. Sometimes I even get bored because I have so much free time. I also have more energy to go out. These days, it almost feels like my weekends aren't complete unless I go somewhere. So if the question is whether I'm happier now, then my answer is definitely yes. But of course, I still want to visit Japan from time to time. Like I said before, being a tourist is completely different from living there. When you're on vacation, you're focused on the beauty, the convenience, the food, and the peacefulness of Japan. It's a very different experience from building your everyday life there. Before I end this topic, there's actually one thing I forgot to mention in my previous video. You see, there's probably one thing that I should have mentioned in that video. One factor that made my decision easier was that I wasn't leaving without a job. I didn't resign and start over from scratch. I was simply transferred back to the Philippine office, and I'm still working for the same company today. That gave me another option. If returning meant becoming unemployed, my decision might have been very different. But because I had stable work waiting for me here, it became much easier to choose what I felt was best for my family and for myself. I just wanted to share my side of the story because a lot of people were asking, and I also wanted to clear up a few things that I forgot to mention in my last video. Alright, guys, we're about to finish today's walk. I managed to get in a little over 9,000 steps, which isn't bad considering I've been pretty inactive for the past month. It wasn't quite the 10,000 steps I was aiming for, but it's close enough. The important thing is that I finally got myself moving again. Hopefully, this is the start of getting back into a healthier routine. I've been neglecting my exercise lately. My eating habits haven't been the best, and my sleep schedule has been completely messed up. So I'm hoping today's walk is the first step toward getting back on track. We'll just cross over to the other side. Then, we'll end today's walk with a cup of coffee at 7-Eleven. I think I've earned it after all that walking. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the walk and listening to some of my thoughts about life here in the Philippines, what I still miss about Japan, and why I don't regret the decision I made. I also hope this is the start of getting my routine back on track. Less junk food, more walking, and hopefully fixing my sleep schedule one step at a time. If you've made it all the way to the end of the video, thank you for walking with me today. Take care, have a great day wherever you are, and I'll see you again in the next walk.